This is the Horror Movie Show on hmpod.com, your one-stop shop for all things horrific and horror-related. Read the reviews, frolic in the forum, hem and haw over the horoscopes, and listen mightily to the Horror Movie Show with Mark and Jerry, your horrible hosts.
Good day, folks. Jerry here.
And Mark.
We're bringing you, this gotta be the latest episode of the Horror Movie Show.
Are you sure now?
I think it must be. You can find our homepage at www.hmpod.com. Please drop by, drop us a note, buy a t-shirt.
You know what www stands for?
Yes, but I'm not going to say.
Okay. What about com?
World Wide Web?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
That's
what about .com?
.com. Com is commercial.
That's right.
And
it's not company.
Dot is because people can't say period constantly because that would upset
women.
Prudes. Yeah. It would upset those at the time of the month. Hey, our dog, my new dog Hallie, is in heat right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've never had a dog who wasn't fixed, but she's a potential show winner. She's a potential purebred winner. So Amazing Trixie may want to breed her. So she has to get old enough and trained to do the shows. She gets her blue ribbon or whatever the heck it is that these people value, and then we can find an award-winning male and get her knocked up and have puppies. We bought her from a registered breeder.
Right.
And we bought this dog, and our deal is that she's a pet.
Right.
If we were buying her to show her and breed her and get purebred puppies out of her for profit, we would have paid a higher price to get the dog.
Right.
Right? So if Teresa decides to go through with this,
you have to pay her something?
We'll have to make a deal. I suspect that most of the puppies would go back to the original breeder. Like, they're not necessarily our puppies to do with what we want. But, it's a friendly deal we made when we bought the dog. It's
right.
just we didn't buy the dog specifically saying, well, we want to start our own kennel.
Right.
Because that would be in competition with them, and they have a reputation. And if we start saying, well, our dog comes from this kennel, and it's a crappy puppy.
But breeding, isn't that, very complex and...
No, really. You introduce them, and they breed, and...
then you sell them.
Some weeks later, you have puppies.
It sounds too horrible for me.
I'd love to see it. Childless couples who put so much affection into their dogs. I'd feel like a grandpa.
Well, just showing her. Going in, she'd have to go into a competition.
Yeah.
But the training aspect of it. Which one are you guys gonna do that?
Well, Teresa's doing all that, but it's not a huge thing. She has to learn to stand still so that she can be inspected. She has to learn to walk on a jog along on a short leash while Teresa runs her around the track. And that's about it.
So it's not like super dogs. They don't have to do tricks.
No. In fact, the only tricks they have to do...
How dull is that?
Exactly. Yeah. No. This is a different thing. And I'm the one who's teaching her tricks. We got her sitting, sort of staying, but not really yet. And she's very muley. She doesn't come when she's called. And but I've taught her to shake hands, and I've taught her to give me kisses.
I've taught Jake to do that too.
Yeah. Yeah, none of us thought that he'd make it.
Yeah.
But he did finally. Something clicked. I think it was when you switched from liver treats to cheese. I think that made all the difference.
And got him a computer.
Good boy, Jake. Good boy. Sit. Okay, folks. Well, enough about my canine life. We got some weird movies to talk about, including Escape from Tomorrow. 2013 movie written and directed by Randy Moore. It stars Roy Abramson as Jim, Elena Schuber as his wife Emily, Caitlin Rodriguez as his daughter Sarah, and Jack Dalton as his son Elliot. Also in the movie are two attractive young ladies, Danielle Safadi as Sophie and Annette Mahendru as Isabel. Now this movie was shot in Disneyland, in Disney World in Florida, without any permission from the Disney folks.
Well, actually, it was filmed in both places.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, according to IMDb. Filmed in Disney World and Disneyland.
Okay, yeah.
Because I kind of thought so, because I was looking at something. It can't be that exact replica.
A copy, yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure you see the Disneyland castle.
It's when they go to Epcot that they're in World, I think.
Right.
But I think Disneyland is Disneyland.
Yeah. Well, different castles, certainly, in the two parks.
Yeah.
Disney World has the very high white Cinderella castle, whereas Disneyland has the Sleeping Beauty castle.
I did not know that.
That's the difference. There you go. I have no idea.
What does Tokyo have?
Yeah, I was gonna say who
Mulan?
Mulan's? Yeah, I don't know. They have Pocahontas' giant teepee. I have no idea.
Because I did go on Tarzan's tree, and that looked exactly like the Disneyland one. So.
Well, they may call it Tarzan's tree, but that was the Swiss Family Robinson's
when we were kids.
Tree.
Yeah, long time ago.
Mark is on his way to Disneyland soon, so you have to make a sequel.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just take out our video cameras and start shooting. I just have to find 2 French women to go follow.
Yes, French adolescents. You want to obsess about a couple of young jailbait girls.
Talk about their whole role is just walking around, giggling and touching each other seductively, and looking at other people.
Well, Isabel does come and talk to our main character, to Jim. But what this movie is about, and we don't want to give it away because I think it's worth seeing.
Give it away? I can't figure out what it's about.
Mark is having a hard time figuring out what it's about. I think what's going on is that the main character, Jim, is having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, that would be it.
And he's gone to Disney World with his family on a family vacation, but he's having episodes. He's hallucinating, and he's just becoming more and more distant. His wife is undoubtedly a bit of a shrew. She's a bit of a nag.
Yeah, she is a nag. There's no doubt about that. But
and his kids are kind of bratty. So he's not happy with his family. And so what comes into his life but the vision of these 2 seemingly perfect, beautiful, possibly lesbian adolescent girls.
Yeah.
And he starts following these kids around the park and fantasizing about them.
A lot of fantasizing.
Yeah. Well, it conjures up right near the beginning. He's following them but he's with his family, and they're doing the "It's a Small World" ride. And they changed the song on it.
Oh yeah, they have to.
They had
copyright.
To, yeah. But it's so funny because all I could think was the episode of The Simpsons when one of Marge's sisters takes the kids to Duffland.
Yeah.
And Bart dares Lisa to drink the water in the same ride as in the movie. And sure enough, I am the Lizard Queen. For some reason, the water in It's a Small World is hallucinogenic.
Yeah, the special effects were really done well because they were showing the characters in the small world.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
they go evil.
Fangs.
Yes, they go evil.
Yeah.
It was nicely done.
It was very nice.
And people in Disneyland were suddenly, turning into these hideous monsters.
Yeah.
And that reminded me, it was sort of a tip of the hat, I think, to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, where nothing is as sweet as it seems.
Yeah.
And, you go in to check in at the hotel in Vegas, and you look down and there's pools of blood, and you realize that all the patrons in the bar are actually some kind of carnivorous dinosaur lizards.
It took them 12 times going through A Small World to shoot that scene.
Yeah, I bet. It's complicated.
Yeah, and they were shooting it with Canon EOS cameras.
EOS?
Yeah. And 3 of them they were using. And they would actually plan out the proper lighting depending on what time of day it is.
Sure.
Because they couldn't set up lights, obviously.
No.
So they spent months and months planning exactly where and when to be to get specific lighting.
Well, Disney really can't complain because they must have made a fortune selling passes to these people to get into the park again and again. They must have spent thousands of dollars just on tickets. Literally.
And it was perfect. They go on a lot of rides.
Yeah.
And what I noticed was that some of the rides were not cut in the same order as the ride.
Oh, no,
what the rides are.
No.
You know, because I would say, hey, wait a minute, that's the end of the ride, and this is in the middle of the ride. Why is that after this?
Yeah. But you don't. By no means is it a tour of Disneyland.
No, I'm just saying, having known the rides, I know that they. If you didn't know Disneyland, you wouldn't realize what was going on.
All movies are like that. I had so many movies filmed in Vancouver, my hometown here, and you'll see people driving along the main drag, Granville Street. And the next thing you know, they're on the Oak Street Bridge heading into Richmond. And people in the audiences here in Vancouver will laugh at this because now our city has been turned into a Mobius strip. Yeah. But at the same time, it's not supposed to matter, so, you know, I didn't let it bug me about Disneyland, even though I've been there as well.
I thought that there was a lot of interesting people that he meets along the way. Mm-hmm. Yep. At one point, his daughter gets a scraped knee, and they go to the nurse.
Oh, the nurse is hysterical. I love her.
And she mentioned something about a cat flu.
Yes,
it turns out that in Disney World, it's so massive, and they do have a rat problem. Right. They let these cats out at night to hunt the rats. Right. And they have specific feeding stations for the cats. Right. So these things have bases.
Oh, that's funny.
But I just thought it was funny the way the nurse breaks down after they leave. Yeah. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, there's some sort of like a zombie plague running through the amusement park.
And then they meet that other woman that's more like a stripper than anything else. Her son.
Yeah. And she takes Jim back to her room, and sexes him up, but he's like unconscious.
Yeah, it's like he's eating this turkey leg, which she claims is emu.
Yes, that's
which is another myth. It really is a turkey leg.
Right.
But I can't understand this fascination with Americans and their turkey legs. Right. It's just a big piece of meat.
Do they really sell those in Disney World? Yeah. I've never seen them for sale.
They sell them all over the place in all these different exhibitions now. It's becoming very, very popular.
You can use it as a club.
It's like eating 3 pounds of meat.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hey? Yeah. What is wrong with Americans?
Well, they gotta sell those turkey legs cheap, I suppose, because what they want is the meat for sandwiches and stuff. Yeah.
It just amazes me that someone would buy one of those.
Buy a whole turkey
you could make a whole meal for a family out of one of those things. Yeah. And here's the person chowing down on one.
It's like they're in the Flintstones world.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But don't. Yeah. So he's definitely on a wild ride. He is Mr. Toad. He just doesn't know what's going on.
He gets drawn into a laboratory in the Siemens
Doesn't
building.
he go underneath Disney World?
I don't know where it is, but he's in some sort of lab, and I have no idea what that whole scene was about.
Yeah. Well, just basically that the park has an ulterior motive. There's a secret reason for the parks to exist, and he's sort of on the verge of discovering all this, but he's just going insane.
Yeah, he's having hallucinations all over the place. People's faces are distorting.
Yeah, no, it's nicely done.
And the family, he's trying to be nice to his kids. Yeah. He's trying to get along with his wife, who is not giving him very much, because he's disappearing following these two adolescents. Yeah. And it's like she's catching him staring at them all the time.
And the kids know that he's doing that. Why are we following these girls, Daddy? We're not. We just happen to be headed in the same direction. Yeah.
But the ending is just, I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
I still don't know what's going on. It's almost... I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
It's a little mad. It is a little insane.
A bad ride.
Well, indeed, the parallels between being in the park and going crazy.
Maybe that's what it's like being stoned in Disneyland.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'll tell you a story about that sometime. Okay, our next movie is a 2009 movie. I just happened to catch part of this as I was flipping channels one evening and thought Mark and I could talk about it. It's called Paintball, directed by Daniel Ben-Mayor, written by Mario Schendorf, stars Jennifer Matter as Anna, because of course she matters.
Of course.
Brendan Mackey as David, Patrick Regis as Eric, Iona Perez as Iris, Neil Maskell as Fat Frank. Actually, I just put the fat in there so I'd remember. He's just Frank. And Anna Casas as Brenda. Frank is a big fat guy in this group of people who've been all stuck together. The ad running, come and play paintball and feel like you're really playing for your life. You know, this is the line. So a whole bunch of people have said, yeah, that sounds like fun. And now they've been stuck together on a team. Most of them don't know each other at all.
But they all have experience in doing this type of thing.
They've all played
extreme paintball.
Yeah. However, once they get out into the field, oh, wait, the other team isn't using paintballs.
Well, I don't even know if it's the other team. I have a feeling the other team is getting wiped out as well.
Yeah, no, they've killed. They do.
And they're not even killing the other team. They meet up with a few of the strays.
Stragglers, yeah.
Yeah, and to me, the whole premise is silly. It's like, how can you set up these guys with paintball guns and then have live ammo on the other side? I mean, the whole premise of survival of that.
As it's going on, so this is a variation on the old idea of the deadliest game.
Yeah.
And that's a great title, The Deadliest Game, because it means two things right off the bat. One is it is a game, like playing a game, and it's deadly because one or the other of the players is going to kill the other one. But it's also the deadliest game because human beings as game are the deadliest creatures you could hunt.
Right.
And while there are overseers with cameras in the trees and microphones and so on watching the players, they're also putting out things to kill them, traps and maniacs with weapons and so on. But they're also giving them stuff at each stop along the way. They're giving them the means to build weapons themselves.
Yeah, unfortunately.
They don't realize this.
Yeah.
So they're throwing away what looked like a piece of junk.
And then you have the rich elite who are betting on who's going to survive.
That's what this is all about. This is essentially, like I say, it's a very derivative movie, and the betting aspect is very much like the Death Race movies that we've been talking about lately. The remakes of the Death Race.
Yeah,
movies.
Exactly. That reminded me of the
people watching on remote cameras and betting on the action and just basically paying to see people.
And
die
some people
horribly.
And trying to cheat too, in that they're trying to give certain people certain weapons so that they can survive.
Yeah.
Or they're talking.
It's also the Hunger Games, of course.
Yeah.
But this is before the Hunger Games, so. And it's also, of course, it calls back to Battle Royale, the Japanese game, where an entire class of students.
But if you're going to have a betting game, if this for the rich elite, you got to give both sides guns that work, not paintballs against ammo.
Yeah, but that's
just not fair.
No, it isn't fair, but fairness is not what this game is about. I see the point of not giving both sides murderous weapons immediately, and that is you thin out the herd. And by the time the last couple of good people, non-murdering people, have survived, they've learned something, and they're the ones who are now worthy prey. And, in fact, now they have a chance to turn the tables and escape. If they can escape. And we don't want to give this one away because I don't think a lot of people saw it, but I think it's worth seeing. It's, again, little B movie, probably made for just a few $100,000 out in the woods.
It was actually, I think, made in Spain.
In Spain. It's a Spanish-made movie, but in English.
Yes. There was. Yeah, it was in English.
That's right. Made in Spain. I read that.
I enjoyed it, but a lot of the different people in it. There's this one guy, he just won't shut up.
Oh, that's Fat Frank.
Yeah. And I'm going.
He's whining.
I would have
bitch.
killed the guy.
Yeah, because he's giving them away.
Yeah.
Constantly moaning at the top of his voice. This isn't any fun. Shut up, Fat Frank.
People are getting killed, Fat Frank. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah.
And you're giving our position away every time you open your mouth. I mean, I He would be the first guy to go.
Yeah, he deserves it. They should have held him down and shoved paintballs down his throat till he choked to death. That's it. They're not killers. They're there to play paintball.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have let the guy stay with the group.
I know.
I mean, it was just get rid of the guy.
Hog tie him and
you want to bitch? Go bitch over there.
You hog tie him, cover him in leaf detritus, and come back for him later if you can.
Yeah.
But why would you? Maybe to eat him, because, he's fat. Lots of meat on him. All right, from that one, let's go to a movie called Maniac from 2012, directed by Frank Calfoun, written by Alexandra Aje. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that. Gregory Levasseur, based on an original screenplay by Joe Spinell. I've only written down a couple of names in this, and that's because most of the cast really doesn't matter, and it's a no-name cast except for Elijah Wood playing the title Maniac. He plays Frank. The other person worth noting plays Anna, his sort of girlfriend, and she is Nora Arnzetter. She's a Parisian-born actress. So you have Frank, the Elijah Wood character, and the whole movie essentially is shot from his point of view.
Yeah.
This is a remake, I believe.
It is.
It is a remake.
It is a remake.
I thought I'd read something about that. And
a very cheap movie, actually. Only $6 million to make.
Okay. Right.
But literally, from his point of view, and you see his face through mirrors.
Well, Elijah Wood has done some pretty peculiar things since The Lord of the Rings. He's made this movie, and he made another movie what was the other horror movie we saw him in recently?
I can't recall.
He does like horror movies. He goes right back to The Faculty.
Yeah.
He was just a teenager when he was in that, and of course The Good Son.
Yeah.
He goes back to that. Was that with Macaulay Culkin, I think?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Macaulay is
that was his
the bad cousin.
Yeah, he was
getting little Elijah.
And he did
into trouble.
it was a very creepy movie. Yeah, that was actually really done.
So Elijah must like his horror movies, and of course, you could certainly argue that the Lord of the Rings movies are horror movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they've got all sorts of things.
Oh, it's full
They've
of
got
horror.
Ghosts and goblins.
Giant spiders.
And all sorts of things. But Maniac, very disturbing movie.
Dark movie.
And I liked it. It's very entertaining, but in a very sick way.
Oh, yes. Yeah, be prepared. It's
a lot of scalpings.
Yeah, that's what he does. He's evidently, all you have to do to scalp somebody is just make a cut across the top of their forehead,
and
then the hair just peels off
like butter.
Like butter. Yeah. It's ridiculous. But and he tends to peel the scalps off on some people while they're still alive, which is unpleasant.
Yeah.
And then he takes the scalps home, and his dead mother ran a little clothing shop, and all that's left really are the mannequins.
Yeah.
And Frank spends all his time refurbishing and fixing
Classic
up these
mannequins.
These old mannequins. And he brings home these scalps, these beautiful women's hair, and he staples them, ka-chunk, so that the blood is still running down the mannequins' faces.
Yeah, and they become real to him.
Oh, to him, they're alive, and they don't much like him.
Yeah.
They're hostile to him.
Well, not all the time. When he first brings them, they're his girlfriends.
Yeah, he lays in bed with them.
But the other ones are getting jealous.
Yeah. And the whole apartment, of course, the whole shop and his little apartment at the back of the shop is stinking full of flies.
He's constantly
maggots on the rotting scalps.
Yeah, he's constantly spraying
Lysol. And so he meets this beautiful young French gal, Anna. She's a photographer, an artist, and she is just taking pictures of the mannequins in his shop front window. He sees her, and he's sort of Norm Bates-like, because he can be perfectly normal, even charming, and he's of course, he's not a bad-looking young man.
Yeah.
Elijah Wood's big-eyed and all that. and allows her into the shop, and she takes more pictures, and the next thing he knows, he's lending her some of his mannequins for the big art show that she's putting on there in New York. And while she does eventually, and I thought this was mean of her, eventually she mentions, after they've gone out to a movie together, she mentions that she does have a boyfriend. Yeah. Well, we'll say what? Time to kill her now. And it's just like, why would you do that? What a terrible thing to do. A guy's obviously interested in you, and you've made it seem like you're interested in him. And here's a tip for all you young ladies out there. Let him know whether you got a boyfriend or not. Don't wait until he's taken you out to dinner a couple of times.
Yeah, that was cruel.
That's mean.
And not meaning that she deserved to die or
No. And in fact, it turns out that her boyfriend is eminently forgettable because he's a brute.
Yeah,
and she does dump him, and she does go back to Elijah. But whether she only sees Elijah as a buddy or not, because he is, when you get right down to it, he is a rather asexual sort of individual.
He gets a few people think he's gay in the movie.
Yeah, because it's just Elijah Wood. He's such a sweet-looking, boyish young man.
Yeah, but he does have that stubble.
Yeah. No, it was nice. Anyway, I enjoyed the movie as well, so I'm glad you did.
It's not a feel-good movie at all.
No, it's a nasty.
It's a nasty movie. Yeah. And if you really like horror and a few gross scenes, this will go up your alley. And I love the fact that he has these conversations with these mannequins.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you see them sort of like third person, they're mannequins, but then they become the people that the scalps were cut off of. So you see these actors and actresses coming back in and having conversations with them. Yeah. So it's eerie.
It is.
It's very eerie.
I always enjoy a movie that manages to credibly get the point of view of a crazy person across.
Although
this manages to do it fairly well.
Yeah, although I was kind of irritated by some of the chase scenes because those women just couldn't get away.
That's stupid. That's a big fail.
Yeah, that was a big fail. There was a couple women that he was chasing for quite a long time that had every opportunity to go where other people were and end up in a dead end somewhere. And him killing them. It's like, I'm sorry, but New York is a huge place. Yes. There's lots of people on the street.
You ought to be able to find a 7-Eleven.
And if you're screaming, somebody's going to notice you.
Yeah, I know.
No, they just seem to be in the most vacant places in Manhattan.
There was a British movie we talked about not too long ago, which was very like Maniac. And at one point, a woman runs, and she's running for blocks and blocks and blocks. I understand there's warehouse districts that maybe on the weekends are empty of people. Yeah. But it's hard to believe you're not going to run across a car or somebody leaving who left their briefcase.
And this was in the London area too.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, give me a break. Yeah, you yell in London, someone's going to hear you.
Indeed, and tell you to shut
up.
And
same with Manhattan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
it's kind of silly.
So that was the only thing I thought was silly in this movie.
Yeah. Well, and at first I was thinking, is he just imagining that it's this simple? But no, he really is supposed to be murdering these people. So yeah. Okay, our next movie is one that I watched because Mark forced me to. It's called Age of Dinosaurs. Oh. It's a 2013 movie, went straight to some god-awful TV channel, I have no doubt. This movie is worse than the movies made for the Sci-Fi Channel, and that is really saying something. Title of the movie, Age of Dinosaurs, directed by Joseph J. Lawson. I'm assuming the J stands for just a second, I'll come up with something. Yeah. Writer is Hank Woon Jr. Now, two actual former movie stars in it. Treat Williams and Ronnie Cox. Treat Williams, the only thing he's got going for him is he's still got great hair.
And he's doing a lot of TV these days, and he's always playing somebody's dad.
Yeah, he plays a dad in this. And Ronnie Cox plays the chair
of a big corporation.
Of a gigantic corporation.
Biochem kind of thing.
Yeah, Genetics or something. And we get a little history of the company in the opening credits. they wanted to allow the lame to walk again.
Yeah.
And they're not having any luck with that. However, when they turn their sights on bringing dinosaurs back from fossils, hey, great success.
No problem.
That somehow or other ties in with helping people who, like the Ronnie Cox boss, who's stuck in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So somehow or other, and I was hoping at some point that maybe, a dinosaur would come bursting out of his back. But no, nothing that imaginative. This movie rips off Jurassic Park. It rips off RoboCop, which Ronnie Cox was the boss in. Yeah. It rips off half a dozen other movies as well, to the point where they're actually using lines. At one point, a guy in a helicopter, he says, "We're in the pipe 5 by 5, which is what the pilot says in Aliens as they're coming down. And then he immediately uses another line from... Oh, yeah. And then the other thing from Aliens that is used is when Treat and his daughter get up onto the roof of the building that the dinosaurs are infesting, the helicopter that's supposed to be waiting for them is gone. Treat cusses out the helicopter, and then the next thing you know, here it comes, popping up over the side of the building. Everybody looks over their shoulder, and they might as well have just had Sigourney Weaver clutching a little girl, because that's the scene at the end of Aliens.
Yeah.
When the robot helps them escape.
I always love the way they use helicopters. Like, you can't hear them unless you see them.
Yeah, my God. And they got two of them fighting with some sort of giant carnivorous dinosaur. They got two of them in an alley.
Yeah.
And they're flying up and down, And
they're not even going up.
It's so stupid.
The helicopters just can't seem to figure out that they can go up.
Yeah.
They have to stay close enough so that the dinosaurs are going to get them.
Yeah, and these dinosaurs are impervious. Okay, I can maybe believe that they'd be impervious to the shotguns and pistols that the cops have. But when the militia, when the National Guard shows up, they've got like Exocet missiles and these dinosaurs. It takes like 3 air-to-ground missiles hitting this one dinosaur before it finally drops. And, these are tough mothers. How the hell did they ever go extinct? Because that meteor shouldn't have touched them.
Oh, just... it starts off in this lab. And they got
the stupidest people in the whole world.
Yeah, they've got like a half a dozen or a dozen people in this lab, and
they put nothing but Japanese into this safe room, into the surgical room.
Yeah,
and they bring a dinosaur to life somehow or other, and it jumps off the table and starts killing all these Asians in the room.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the white people, including 2 semi-attractive young women who are sitting in a console and doing everything that their evil boss is telling them. And there's a little wimpy guy who's saying, "You shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do that, there's gonna be trouble." Meanwhile, he's helped bring this about.
Yeah.
He's part of the team.
You would think that they would have restrained the animal. In some way.
Yeah.
And then they do have sleeping gas, but they use it after it starts killing everybody.
After it's killed all the poor Japanese technicians.
Now, I love the other thing about this movie is that half the time the dinosaurs were literally puppets, hand puppets, and shadows.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of shadows.
A lot of shadows. People running around and scared in the hallways from shadows.
Yeah, definitely. The scene of the big reveal. So Ronnie Cox's company has filled a huge auditorium, with, like a theater, with invited guests, and they're all there to see just what the heck the new deal for this company is. And Ronnie Cox is on stage, and suddenly the curtain goes up, and there's a thick plexiglass wall between the humans in the audience and some really giant carnivorous dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And, the first dinosaur, try as he might, he can't bash his way through the plexiglass. The next one,
a rather small one,
jumps through the plexiglass.
Yeah.
Man, and he's out there, and now people are getting eaten alive and,
in the theater,
getting tossed through the air. And the pteranodons... And now all the dinosaurs get away once that window is broken. All hell breaks loose, and there's like a dozen dinosaurs, and they're all running around. The pteranodons, which weigh maybe 100 pounds, they're not huge.
No.
they're picking grown men up, flying them to the top of the theater and dropping them just for fun. It's not like they're going to eat them. They're just doing it for fun. Have you ever seen a
crow pick up a nut and drop it on the sidewalk?
You know what I haven't seen is a crow pick up an animal twice its weight. That's what Teresa caught the very end of the movie with me last night. We're laughing and laughing, and I said to her in my best Monty Python accent, "It's not a matter of where it grasps it. A 3-ounce bird cannot lift a 2-pound coconut." They should have just watched Holy Grail for the logic of this.
That was the thing. I mean, it's like, I watched this quite a while ago, but I still stand by that it is such a bad movie that you can laugh at it. And that's better than a movie you can't laugh at.
Yeah, but not when you're by yourself, Mark. This is what I don't like to do. I was laughing out loud when Teresa put some 5% of her concentration on the last 10 minutes of this terrible piece of trash.
Yeah.
And I just wanted it to, just die.
I was amazed.
Let's end it.
Ronnie Cox was all over the place.
He's so pathetic.
And the whole relationship between Treat Williams and his daughter.
His hideous, horrible daughter.
Here he is. He's taking her to see real dinosaurs, and she's so bored she walks out.
Yeah, she'd rather listen to her iPod
than watch a real dinosaur. I mean, I'm going, what is that?
She is such a nasty little dink.
And then the way they chase them through all of L.A.
Oh, it's so stupid.
Downtown L.A. And these dinosaurs are beeline for wherever they were, and they drove in a car for quite a distance.
I know, it's so stupid.
And they couldn't lose the dinosaurs.
And meanwhile, back at the lab, further crises have occurred, and the two semi-pretty women at the console wind up somehow or other. Everything breaks down, and dozens more dinosaurs get unleashed, just as the cops think they've got a handle on the first few that escaped. And they all the dinosaurs, again, make a beeline to where the first dinosaur went, and they all crowd into this building, and the building's ready to collapse, although we do see it collapse at the end, don't we? And but is that supposed to finish off all the dinosaurs?
Yeah, don't they shoot it with some rockets or something?
I don't know. It was so stupid, and all I could think was my life was draining away. And now the daughter here, Jade Jacobs, is played by Gillian Rose Reed. Now, okay, I'll bet she's not a teenager for one thing. She's not a pretty girl, and she plays. Well, she's not hideous, but she's like, average looking girl. The character is so spoiled and such a whiny little creep that I wanted to see her eaten by something horrible.
Yeah, I thought the character was written bad. I don't think she's a bad actress.
Plus, I have to say, if I have to watch an actress in a bad movie, I really prefer if she's attractive. This girl, there were so many shots of her running away with her big bubble butt. She's like this little skinny girl, but she's got a really wide butt. And she's climbing ladders and running upstairs. But here's the level of stupidity between Treat Williams and the girl playing his daughter, Jade. She's found herself a safe little nook in like a retail shop in this building.
Yeah, that whole retail shop.
And she's there, and she's hidden, and the dinosaurs can't get at her. And she says to her dad, "Why can't we just wait here?" And he says, "No. As a fireman, or as a former fireman, I think we've got to keep moving, and the place is crawling with dinosaurs." Yeah. She says, "But we're safe here. Let's just stay here, Dad. It doesn't make any sense." And he says, "I don't know. I think we better keep moving." And she says, "Oh, to hell with it. Let's get out of here." And he's saying, "Well, wait a second. Let's not just run out there." But she's already out there. And then she has to run back again later in the movie. Oh, it's so stupid. There's no logic to anything that these people do.
That's why I think this was not written with a script.
I don't think it was written for humans to act. It's a puppet show.
I really think that they wrote it as they went. And they figured, we need a little more time. Let's make another scene.
Yeah. Oh, it sure feels like I really thought, oh my God, it's going to wrap up. And then I checked the time on the video. Oh God, it's not even half over.
Well, I kind of wonder what Treat Williams and Ronnie Cox, how they feel after they see the final product, because really you don't know what a movie's going to be like when you're making it.
You don't know how bad it's going to be.
No, because you don't see the whole picture, and you don't see all the special effects, and so you're trying the best you can.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the end result, you kind of go, but suppose
at least the check was real.
Yeah.
You got to hope that they made a couple of $100 each.
It's made by a film company called The Asylum, and I was reading some reviews, and everyone was mentioning The Asylum.
They're
I guess
awful.
they make a whole series of movies.
Yeah, and from what I understand, The Asylum makes movies all about this level. They're universally sneered at by horror fans who know their stuff.
Yeah.
And honest to God, The Asylum seems to make movies at about the same crap level as sci-fi.
Now,
Sci-fi
are these
Network.
the Roger Cormans of today? I don't know.
Well, I don't know, but they don't seem to be getting better. This is a new movie. This is 2013.
Yeah.
The Asylum's been around a while, and
maybe it's just a mass production kind of thing where they just, if they put more movies out, they make more money. They don't necessarily care.
Well, I know that the Sci-Fi Channel, SYFY, I know that I'm pretty sure that what their deal is, they've committed to a new movie every weeknight. So they need to have 590
really?
or
do
2.
They have a movie a night?
I think they have a new movie. I think that's what they do. That's at least that's what they used to do. But so they don't want to spend more than a minimum amount of money on these movies, and so that means a crap writer, a crap director,
but
and
it's
crap
not even
actors.
a place where people are honing their skills.
No,
you would think that
it's a job.
You would think that they would be getting college students and things like that want to do decent work, and with a minimum budget.
Yeah.
But it just seems like they want to just put out the schlock, turn it out.
This is an example of factory movie making.
Yeah.
It's like Muzak of movie making. There's little thought goes into this. It looks like a horror movie, therefore it's good enough.
But you look at Sharknado, Again, I relate these two types of movies together.
Yeah, that's a sci-fi movie.
It's just a silly movie, but it made so much money they're making a sequel.
Yeah.
They're making a sequel to that crap.
Yeah, but that Sharknado, I can understand, as bad as it is, I can understand people getting together and laughing at it. This movie, Age of Dinosaurs, is merely tiresome. I was so tired of it after 20 minutes that in fact, I watched the first, after Mark suggested we talk about this one, I watched the first 10 minutes, and the next time I talked to Mark, I said, I can't watch that. It's just awful. But I forced myself last night because we were recording today, and we need fodder. Yeah. And bad is at least somewhat fun to talk about.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend this to someone who loves dinosaurs. Go watch Jurassic Park again.
Yeah.
Go watch any of the sequels to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Bad as some of those sequels are.
I'm sorry. I thought the
crap.
third one was the best one of the lot.
Oh, there you go. I'll have to revisit that. Okay, so enough of that. We got one more movie here, and again, I watched the first 10 minutes, and then I didn't have the nerve to go back and
balls?
watch. Yeah, among other things. Or the stomach. It's Adventures of Serial Buddies. It's a 2011 horror comedy written and directed by Kevin Undergaro. Henry Winkler is the narrator. So right there, that made me nervous.
What? You don't like Henry?
I can take or leave Henry Winkler. Christopher Lloyd plays Dr. Von Gearhart. Beth Bears plays Brittany. Christopher McDonald plays Father Christopher. Artie Lang, who's a comedian, plays Golden Graham, and Kathy Lee Gifford. This is what I wrote in my notes. She plays her horrible self. Now this,
and she does.
And she does.
She's supposed to be playing herself.
Yeah, she's horrible. Now, the way this movie started for me, and like the first 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was, I forced myself to watch. What struck me is that they're trying to do wacky black comedy along the lines almost of Arrested Development, and Henry Winkler was a regular character in that. So, they get Artie Lang in, who was on Mad TV, Christopher Lloyd, who's not just a movie actor, but also a sitcom actor going back to Taxi.
Yeah.
So they got some talent. But that's as much as I watched, and I didn't want to watch anymore, so I'll turn it over to poor Mark, who watched the whole thing.
It's been a while since I've seen it, because you kept not watching it. But it's about two serial killers. One is a devout Catholic who's killing people because, he wants to grant them safe passage to heaven.
Okay.
The other guy works in a trophy shop.
Okay.
And he is so pissed off with people that keep getting trophies because he never got any when he was a kid, that he wants to kill any potential trophy winners.
Okay, so he's killing, athletes?
Yeah, athletes and things like that. Okay. Now, they meet up in the middle of a forest.
Because they're both, I saw this part, they're both dragging their latest victims to the same hiding spot.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And how awkward is that?
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny.
Well, it's sort of clever, but I have to say that the cliched characters they had, one of them is super gay, and the other one is like this, just a pathetic little piece of human garbage with the most awful speech impediment I've ever heard.
Yeah, he was the guy that works in the trophy shop, and the gay was the religious fanatic.
Right.
Which kind of makes sense, right?
Well, no, not really, because the religions tend to stomp
I know,
on the
that's the whole idea.
That's the joke?
That's the joke.
Okay.
Anyway, they meet each other. They have a conversation where they get kind of confused why each other's motivations are, and they think each one is motivated the same way.
Right.
So that they figure that they should team up and be more efficient in killing these people who deserve to die, obviously.
Right. Catholic athletes springs to mind.
Yeah. So whenever they pick somebody, each one of them is looking at a different angle and is justifying it for their cause, even though they don't realize they're doing that.
Right.
Until the very end.
Okay.
And they meet up with a bunch of different people, but that's the basic premise of this movie. Yeah. I liked it because it was so odd. Who thinks of serial buddies?
Right.
And that whole aspect of it.
Well, I tell you right off the top of my head, serial buddies. You got Hannibal Lecter and Buffalo Bill. They're serial buddies in The Silence of the Lambs. They're pen pals. They're sending each other notes. They're admiring each other's work. They're serial buddies. I don't see this as
but
being
they don't
a big jump of hilarious imagination to take that same idea and just make it into a silly, stupid. This is stupid comedy. That's what this kind of comedy
I don't
is.
think it's that stupid. I thought
when you start with a couple of cartoon caricature characters, the one. It's offensive. He's offensively mega gay.
A lot of people are comparing it to Napoleon Dynamite and stuff like that.
Oh, those people are wrong.
Oh, well, to me, I just thought it was a little quirky movie, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, I didn't.
I thought it was. There were parts of it, that you groan at, and other parts that you chuckle because it is funny.
Okay, I'll tell you the movie that it made me think of, and that is a movie from probably the 80s. Called Slapstick, based on a novel by Kurt Vonnegut. And it starred Jerry Lewis and Pat Morita and a whole bunch of other Las Vegas types.
I've heard of that movie.
Yeah, it's a terrible movie. Absolutely awful. Nothing to recommend it. And all it is a bunch of these hack B-grade. Okay, Jerry Lewis accepted, although I'm not a fan of his. But it's a bunch of B-grade or C-grade comic actors getting together to make a movie, and hey, we're funny guys, so it's going to be a funny movie. But just because somebody is funny doesn't mean that the movie's going to be worth it.
No, I disagree with you. I don't think that this movie was trying to do that.
Oh, you liked it a lot more than I did.
I think they try to develop each of those two characters.
Okay.
And I liked the way they were developed.
Okay, well, I'm just glad that we're talking about it now, and I don't ever have to finish watching it.
Well, there you go. I recommend it if you like quirky comedies.
Quirky comedies, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a great movie. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, I'm not getting you wrong. Don't worry. You're saying that if you were stuck under a pile of bricks and you had one finger working the remote control, and you had one thing to watch as you slowly suffocated, this would be better than nothing.
No, it would be better than Age of Dinosaurs.
Okay. Oh my God, I picked the wrong one to watch last night. Oh, you didn't tell me that there was a level of awfulness that I could have avoided. Dear, oh dear. It's better than Age of Dinosaurs.
Yes, definitely better than Age of Dinosaurs.
Holy moly. Well, that is a new low point for us, isn't it? That'll be the one that we refer to now when we say, is it as bad as Age of Dinosaurs? Okay.
Well, we talked about Curse of Chucky last week, and I'm sorry, but
You didn't like that one?
I think that Curse of Chucky is no better than Age of Dinosaurs.
Really? Oh, I thought it was much better. Okay, anyway, we're going to wrap this show up, folks. So thank you for listening. Please drop by our webpage, www.hmpod.com. We're also on Facebook. You can find us at, just do a search on Facebook, Horror Movie Show, and we will show up. And in fact, I did a Google search on Jerry and Mark, and we were number 6 on the Google page that came up.
Excellent.
So we're becoming a meme. Meme in my shadow. All right, folks. So this